Evening. I'm back at it here painting. As you can see, I gotta move those kitties because those kittens are looking less and less like kittens and more like cats. I will have to get them fixed before you know it. Although they're not all that old. I mean, I guess they'll be 3 months coming up here soon. But I am working on my 5th painting of my Dream series. This is a series I'm working on that's inspired by my late husband and myself. And right now I'm working... This one is about our early days when we were first sort of getting together. And like I've said before, we really didn't date. I moved in a week later. We just dated while we worked together. And maybe that was because we knew that we had a limited time and we got 28 years. We wanted to make sure we made the most of those. But he passed away from cancer on Easter this past spring. And I lost my mom 2 months later on our anniversary. So I'm trying to capture little moments. Today was particularly hard, actually, because it's my mom's birthday. And I've been struggling, I've been sick and trying to push myself to do things. But at the same time, been avoiding other things. So I am happy for the things that I'm getting done. But there's some other stuff that I need to push through and get done as well. But it's still very important. I was struggling doing my Tai Chi for the past couple mornings. And this morning I made sure I did it. So I'm back on track with that. It's little things like that. You just have to push forward. And the majority of the time with Tai Chi, it's not an issue. I do it. It's like clockwork. But I can really tell my mental state if I'm not doing it. And it's partially not me not feeling well, but it's more than that. So even if I have a bad day, that doesn't mean, oh no, give up and it's all over. That just means all the more reason to make sure you do it. And the same thing, I just sort of was avoiding painting. I just, but as soon as I got out there and I did it, I managed to get through the first phase and I painted for about a half hour. And I always say I only have to paint for 5 minutes. But it's good. It's making me move forward, making me accomplish these things, these images in my head that I want to bring out. And so I can remember these moments, these memories, and process them. It's just on a different level than photos. For me, it just works that way. It evokes emotions that I can't find in the other way. So, painting is how I process stuff. Other people do other things. And I have my little cat sitting there. You can see watching me paint. They'll come back and forth. Right now they're running around while I'm talking here. Sometimes I don't paint and then right away do the audio after, but I am just making it work. Sometimes I wait till the next day, but I don't have to watch my grandbabies or anything tomorrow. And I finished painting earlier than I have been lately. It's about 12:47 or whatever at night, and I've been just staying up late And not like when I'm young, man. It was a lot easier to sort of switch my schedule from one area to the other. But now, when you switch around like that, it just makes, sometimes just conks you out. And I've been on well, I don't know. With my husband, I was on a high stress level. Sleep was always something I struggled with. And when I was taking care of him, I was even more so, because I was constantly keeping an ear out. If he needed me, or, just if he needed me. And I had to be there for him. I wanted to be there for him. I wanted him to know that he was not, and he did. He knew I had his back. So he would be happy that I'm doing these paintings and sort of bringing this part of our life out there. He would like it. He was always, supportive of my art. But at the same time, he was straightforward too. He would tell me, he was not shy to say whether or not he liked something or didn't. But that was just fine with me. I'd rather someone, because then when they say that they like it, you can respect it. You know that they mean it, and that's a valuable thing. My oldest daughter and I, we always work really well when it comes to sometimes she likes to she gives a critique that I'm not necessarily going to agree with everything, but she will notice things that either maybe I was thinking about already, or even better, I wasn't thinking about, and I kind of see what she's talking about, and I can either go with it or not. But we're pretty good. When she was 16, she came and worked at the studio for a couple of years that I was working at. She was the youngest artist that worked there, and so she got a pretty good art training, just having to do that. When you're forced to sort of teach certain images, and you have to know how to work them, it makes it so you grow, you become a better artist for sure. And she got a chance to do that, so she was lucky to have that experience. She just was the right age at the right time when we needed someone, and she was able to do that. All of my daughters are artistic. We homeschooled them for a long time, and I always say they went to sort of art homeschool, because of course I was always painting. I was, not only for myself, painting for them, doing commissions. Art was just always a part of it. We were just constantly doing different things, and so it was just a part of them. So they all have their own little artistic things that they do, and it's individual. They're each unique, but it's nice, and I'm constantly I love it because they're different than me. There's influences obviously, but they're uniquely themselves, and I just think it's beautiful. My husband and I had 4 daughters together, and he had 2 daughters from his first marriage. He was married when he was pretty young, and had 2 daughters. But he was, 11 years older than me, which was perfectly groovy with me. I was in my late 20s when we got together. And we fit. We got along really well. Like, immediately we just sort of got each other. And that's nice when that happens like that, when you have that connection. And my mom and dad, they had that. And I think sometimes if you see it or you've been around it, then you can sort of find that, because you recognize it. And I know that's not always true, but it was my brother's been married to his childhood sweetheart forever. My sister's been married to the same person for a really long time. And it's I think love sometimes grows from love, for sure. And I see it in my kids, and and that doesn't mean that people don't go through struggles or whatever, but the capability of doing that. But you have to make the effort. You have to be there and ready. You have to want it. And my husband and I were definitely looking for that. Now in this picture, we're out and outside. We're at a restaurant, and they had like an outdoor seating area that we used to like to hang out. And in this, we don't have a dog, but we do get a dog eventually, and she comes and hangs out with us at the outside area, which was always nice. They'd always bring her a big bowl of water, and they were just sweet as could be about you bringing your dog. And we used to go to this place pretty frequently. They had the best hamburgers, actually. And we would go inside sometimes. It depended on the weather or what was happening. Because back then we were smokers, so we did like smoking outside. But you could smoke in restaurants at that point in time. So we would go inside as well. And like I said, depending on the weather. We live in Florida, so that could be all kinds of reasons, weather-wise. Too hot, too rainy, you name it. But it's a good restaurant. It's still around. I haven't been there in a long time, but we used to go there frequently. I don't know that it's the same as it was back in the day, but it was one of our go-to places. And it just sort of fit us. Now, in the same downtown area, I used to do street art festivals. They still do a lot of them. I don't know. I find them exhausting a lot of times. But I used to go and do them a lot more. And I'll still do them every once in a while. Just it's, one of those things you do when you're selling your work. But most of the time, and they can, because you never know, even if you don't sell a ton at the festival, sometimes it's just the connections you make while you're there. You know, I have definitely that, people, end up doing commissions and stuff like that. But I'm sort of, I don't know. It's a fine line doing commissions for people and doing art. Right now, I don't really. It's, if someone asked me to do it, I could use the money, so I'm gonna do it. And it's not that I'm not doing anything that strenuous. I actually have a couple commissions I need to do here. I thought about doing. I'm not even working on this. I thought about working on these commissions as my daily painting, which I might do for the next 2 days. Um, just because, even though I'm working on this one, so we'll see where that goes, because I have to do those, so I might have to do extra. They're just pet portraits, but pet portraits mean a lot to people. People are very close to their animals. I understand this. I'm extremely close to mine. They're dear to me, and so when you do them, I want to be respectful and do a good job of their animal. And sometimes they're very limited on the pictures that they have, right? Sometimes the animals have passed away, and they might have one picture of the animals, and they're not the best, but that's okay. I usually am able to work with that, but sometimes they can be challenging. But when I was working at the studio, we used to do a paint your pet classes, and people would come, and ahead of time, we'd have them send in pictures of their pets, and sometimes we would say, "Hey, do you have something else?" And again, like I said, not everybody had other pictures, and we would work with what we had, but it was, people would come in and just have the most amazing reactions about the paint your pet. First of all, they usually came in and loved the sketches, just seeing their pet sketched out on the canvas, and so that sort of started them off on a good vibe. And then you're just sort of walking them through, and you're getting them to, paint the whole thing. And you'll go and help them and tweak them. And that really varies on who you're dealing with, how much they want you to physically help them, or you just want to sort of demonstrate. But let's just say I've done a ton of dog noses and dog eyes, amongst other things, but those are the main thing. And I can't tell you how many times I went in there and reworked their eyes. And the people would just be standing behind me. And before that, they're just like, well, I don't know, and I help them with their eyes, and I tweak them, and I do a little something, and they just go, "Oh my goodness, that is my, their dog or their cat," and they just sometimes brought them to tears. It just meant so much to them. I literally had people that would leave that during class because their animal, they were there because their dog or cat was ill, and maybe even at the vet, and they were kind of, trying to work with this whole thing, and they, have to leave because they heard something from the vet and they had to go, It was, I've said it before, it was one class, I was like, okay, you're allowed to cry in this class. You're always allowed to cry. I'm just, there were more tears shed in that class than any other. People love their pets. And, so, I don't mind doing those sort of things. We'll see where it goes if I do those the rest of my life or not. I don't know where life's going to take me, but right now, they bring in some money, and that's a positive thing. It allows, if I'm able to do enough commissions, then it allows me to be able to be available to watch my grandbabies, and it allowed me to be there for my husband. And these are extremely important things. Now, I was still, when he first got his cancer diagnosis, the studio was still open. But a little over a year before he passed away, the studio actually closed. And, there were sad parts about it for sure. But ultimately, because everything we went through that last year, it made it easier for us to just embrace that time and spend time together. And that was important. And so with the support of our daughters, we were able to, have that time and be together. It was a time I, wouldn't trade for anything. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I'm grateful for all of it, every single moment, because there's a closeness, there's something that I don't know. Vince and I were always close, but it just pushed us to a new level of closeness. And I was really lucky. Whereas unfortunately my dad, but my mom and him were extremely close as well. They were just, always the type of people, just, if my mom was there, my dad was there. If my dad was there, my mom was there. They were just always together. And, but my mom, over the past few years, was developing dementia. And they were really lucky because it never got, this sort of full-blown thing. Now, when she was sick the last 2 months, obviously the symptoms got a lot worse. It's not unusual for people that aren't even going through that, end up in the hospital, to have this sort of hospital dementia sort of thing that happens. Because it's a different world, man. It's just, Vince was always worse when he was in the hospital. I think it's just, you're not home, it's just a different world. And so we did the best we could with what we had, but it was better to be at home. But my mom really didn't have an option to be at home. And unlike Vince, who did hospice at home, which is exactly what he wanted, he did not want to be in the hospital. And he was not. We had him home. My mom did hospice at a hospice center. But that really worked better for her situation. My dad really couldn't have done the care. I mean, he's 86, almost 87. And it's a miracle that he was able to help her out, because she had rheumatoid arthritis, amongst other things, and she had a lot of mobility issues, and so he did all the driving, and he just, especially just, you name it, it was a lot on him. And he's a go kind of guy still now. After my mom passed, he's just a lot more out there, but it helps him get through that. I've always been much more of a recluse, type person that, show me a nice cave, I might go live in it, a little nook in the woods, and then I'd come out and visit mankind from time to time. I love people, but I'm sure they need just as much a break from me as I need from them. So we, are different. But unfortunately, my dad, as my mom was getting worse, um, her mind, and we had some of that with Vince, partially because he was the treatments and the pain pills he had to be on. But it wasn't quite the same as what my mom was going through. So I was lucky about that up until the end. And that was really with both of them. They were far worse at the end. I mean, that makes sense, And the fact that it happened at the same time, that my mom went in the hospital 2 weeks after my husband did. And at both of them, I could see it in my mom. Like, I knew before anybody else was saying it. I just could see it. I just felt, I just watched my husband go through the whole thing. And even though they were different, the signs were there to me that the body was saying it was done. It just didn't want to deal with this anymore. It was ready to move on. And I, didn't want to be right. I just unfortunately could see it. And she did. She passed away, but she had a lot of, all her family around her. And on the morning that she passed, a lot of us, are right there with her. And but my dad was taking a little longer to get there in the morning, and as soon as he showed up, he was, there not even 10 minutes. And he's sitting there, and he sits down, and he's holding her hand. And she goes. She knew she wanted to wait for him. She wasn't going to go anywhere until he came back. And I think there's just a time the communication you have at the end. I think sometimes they need to know it's okay to go. I know my husband did. He needed to know that I was going to be okay with him moving on. Because he fought like hell to stay right here by my side, by our children's side. And we were lucky. And one of the last time he was sort of able to go out and eat was right after Christmas. And 3 of our daughters have birthdays in January, as well as I do. And so we always say it's birthday month for all of us. And we try to go out to dinner, get us all together. But it's harder the older they get. But that time we managed to get all the kids together and their families. And that was the last time he went out to dinner. And it wasn't like, his appetite wasn't like it used to be. He was just there, happy to be around everybody. And, but I was glad at the last time we had our girls all there around us. And the grandbabies. And it was a beautiful thing. And sometimes at the time you don't know that that's going to be the last time you all go out to eat. But that's why you got to treasure those moments. You got to hold on to them and not let them go. Because they are important. Each and every one. That's why I say take the photos. Take the videos. Say the I love yous. Give the hugs. take that time. Be there. Love each other. And I know how blessed I am. I do. I truly know how blessed I am. And that's what I keep in mind. You know, do I want him next to me? For sure. Hands down, I would want him here with me. I wouldn't be talking on here on YouTube if he was. I'd be talking to him, hanging out with him. But he's not here. And so I gotta move forward. And I gotta figure out what it is I gotta do to make that happen and make it work for me. And like everything else in life, you know, we don't get a manual. And each thing is individual. It's different for everybody. So you can't, I mean, you know, there are similarities and whatever, but this is how it is. Because I know how I'm dealing with it changes every day. But it's just making those steps to move forward. And that's the same thing, actually, between my dad and I. We both are reaching to being, you know, better and doing things and moving forward. So if I hope you're going through anything, I hope that you can find something that helps you move forward. You know, so that you can have better days. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day.